This is a half-legal kind of story I once heard from a truck driver crossing the states. The kind people don't usually tell twice.
Night miles, quiet lies. Close your eyes, listener. Picture a two-lane highway cutting through the dark like a seam. No city glow, no billboards, just the occasional reflector flashing back at you like a slow blink. My name's Evan Mercer. I'm 38 and I drive for a living. Not the glamorous kind, just long haul, steady pay, too much coffee, and a lot of nights where the road feels like the only place that makes sense. Tonight, I'm running from Tennessee to Colorado, Nashville out to the Front Range. A long pull, the kind you don't do unless you've got a reason. I've got one. The cargo is boring on paper. Medical supplies, sealed totes, paperwork clean, the whole thing stamped and signed. The trailer is locked with a numbered seal that's supposed to stay unbroken. But the call I got this morning wasn't from dispatch. It was from a woman I haven't spoken to in 2 years. Her name's Mara Quinn, and she said, "Evan, I need a ride. No questions on the phone, please." The engine hums under me, low and steady, like it's trying to keep my thoughts from climbing too high. The dashboard glows soft green. The heater pushes warm air at my knees. The windshield wipers go whoop, 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 slow and tired. It's late enough that the world feels paused. Trucks pass now and then, heavy shapes with white headlights and red taillights. When they're gone, it's just me and the black ribbon of road. I keep my right hand loose on the wheel, left hand near the coffee. I'm trying not to think about Mara, but I can't help it. Mara has one of those voices you remember. Not sweet, not harsh, just calm in a way that makes you feel like she's already figured things out and you're the one catching up. We met in Knoxville at a roadside diner off I-40. I was stuck waiting on a tire repair. She was there alone with a notebook and a black coffee, like she'd been living out of that booth for a week. She asked me what I hauled. I said, anything that pays. She said, that's a terrible way to live. Then she smiled like she was joking, but I could tell she wasn't. We ended up talking until the tire guy waved me back. I asked for her number, and she gave it to me like it wasn't a big deal. It became a big deal. Then it became complicated. Then it ended. Or I thought it did. At 10:47 p.m., I see her standing under a busted streetlight outside a closed gas station off an exit near Cookeville. Rain mist hangs in the air like smoke. Her hair is tucked into a hood. She's got a backpack on one shoulder and a small rolling suitcase, like she's trying to look normal. She doesn't wave, she just watches the rig roll up, steady, like she's counting my headlights. I pull onto the shoulder and stop. Air brakes hiss. The engine idles. For a second, I just sit there, hands on the wheel, staring out through the glass. Then I open the passenger door from inside, and she climbs up without saying hello, like we're late for something. She smells like cold air and rain and something faintly floral, shampoo maybe, not perfume. She looks tired, but not the kind of tired you fix with sleep, the kind you get from carrying a secret too long. She tosses her bag down by her feet and clicks the seatbelt. Only then does she look at me. "Thanks," she says. I nod once. "You okay?" She stares forward at the road, like it might give her the right answer. "No," she says, "but I'm here." That's Mara, always honest in the simplest way. I ease the rig back onto the highway, and the night swallows us again. We drive for a few minutes with nothing but the wipers and the tires and the engine. I keep expecting her to start talking, but she doesn't. She just sits with her hands folded in her lap like she's trying to keep them from shaking. Finally, I say, "You said no questions on the phone." "Yeah. So, do I get questions now?" She lets out a breath that almost sounds like a laugh, except it's too thin. "A few," she says. "Just not the ones you want to ask first." That's comforting. I'm not trying to be comforting. I glance at her. She's watching the road ahead, eyes steady, jaw set. "Okay," I say, "then tell me what I need to know." She nods slowly, like she's deciding how much truth is safe. "I messed up," she says. "I got too curious about something that was supposed to stay boring, and now I think someone's trying to make sure I don't bring it up." I don't respond right away. People say dramatic stuff at night. People exaggerate. People panic. But Mara isn't a drama person. "What did you get curious about?" I asked. She hesitates. Then she looks down at the tote of paperwork on my dash, my route sheet, delivery times, signatures. She says quietly, "Your load." My stomach tightens, not like fear, more like a cold focus sliding into place. "This is just medical supplies," I say.
"That's what it says. What does that mean?" She turns her head and looks at me directly now. "It means," she says, "the paperwork is designed to make you stop thinking." A truck passes us on the left, sending a wash of water across my windshield. The wipers slap faster for a moment, then settle back down. I keep my voice calm. "Mara, I don't play games with my job. I know. That's why I called you. What are you saying?" She opens her backpack and pulls out a folded manila envelope. The corners are worn like she's opened it a dozen times. She doesn't hand it to me yet. She just holds it on her lap. "I work contract," she says. "Compliance, audits, paper trails, mostly boring stuff for companies that don't want trouble." "Okay." "I was brought in last month to look at a shipping chain, medical distribution, lots of subcontractors, lots of urgent needs orders." I glance at the road. "That sounds normal." "It is normal," she says, "until you follow the numbers." She taps the envelope gently with her finger, like she's soothing it. "There are shipments that don't match inventory," she says, "labels that don't match weights, routes that don't match delivery logs, and the same few names keep showing up, same warehouses, same broker." My mouth goes dry. I take a sip of coffee anyway. It tastes burnt and useless. "And now you're telling me my trailer is part of it," I say. "I'm telling you," she replies, "your trailer is one of the cleanest covers I've seen." For a long minute, the only sound is the road. Then I say something I didn't plan on saying. "Is someone following you?" Mara doesn't answer immediately. She watches the side mirror, then the rear view, then looks out her window into the dark. "I didn't see anyone when I left, but I also didn't see anyone the last time I got in trouble until it was too late." My grip on the wheel tightens a little. I force it loose again. "Why Colorado?" I ask. She swallows. "Because that's where your delivery ends, and because I think someone expects something to happen there." "What kind of something?" She finally opens the envelope and pulls out a few pages, printouts, screenshots, shipping manifests. She doesn't shove them at me. She knows I'm driving. She just holds them so I can glance when it's safe. One page has a list of container IDs. Another has a highlighted line item with a warehouse address. And then I see it. The seal number. It matches the one on my paperwork. My chest goes tight. "You checked my seal?" I ask. "I didn't have to. I pulled the dispatch copy. And Evan, it's already been flagged in a private system. Not official. Not law enforcement." "Then who?" Mara's voice drops lower. "People who handle problems quietly," she says. "Corporate people, security people, the kind who don't wear badges." I keep my eyes on the road, but my mind is suddenly running in a different gear. This is the part where a normal person says nope, drops her off at the next gas station, calls dispatch, washes their hands. But the problem is, once someone drops a thought like that in your head, it doesn't leave. "What do you want from me?" I ask. Mara looks at me like the answer is obvious, but she still says it carefully. "I want you to keep driving," she says, "like nothing's wrong. I want you to deliver, and I want to be there when you do." "That sounds insane." "Maybe," she says, "but I think someone's using your route because you're reliable, because you don't stop, because you don't open sealed freight, because you're the perfect blind spot." I feel anger flare up, quick and hot. "I'm not part of anything," I say. "I know. That's why this matters." The anger fades into something heavier. "Are you in danger?" I ask. She looks away again. "Yes," she says. The rain lightens. The sky stays dark, but the road ahead looks cleaner, like the night is rinsing itself. Mara rubs her hands together slowly, like she's warming them. I didn't want to drag you into it. I tried to handle it the right way. What's the right way?
I went to my contact, she says, a guy who knows people. He told me to stop asking questions. Then he told me, very calmly, that if I kept asking, I'd end up looking like I was stealing. That's a threat? It's worse than a threat, she says. It's a plan. I swallow. Okay, I say, so you ran? I didn't run, she replies. I moved. Same thing. She almost smiles at that, but it doesn't reach her eyes. Then she says, there's one more thing. Of course there is. She digs into her jacket pocket and pulls out a small object that catches the dash light. A USB drive, black, plain, no label. She holds it out. What's that? I ask. Everything I found, she says. Copies, logs, emails, the chain. If something happens to me, I want it to still exist. I don't take it yet. You're handing me that while I'm driving a truck across state lines? Yeah, because if I keep it, I might not make it to morning. I stare at the road, then reach out and take the drive with 2 fingers like it's a live wire. I set it in the little tray by the cup holder. It looks harmless, like nothing, but the air in the cab feels different now, like a door closed somewhere behind us. We ride in silence for a stretch. The highway opens up, fewer exits, fewer lights. At some point, Mara says softly, "Do you remember what you told me that night in Knoxville?" I blink. No. You said you like driving nights because it's quieter, she says, because it feels honest. I exhale through my nose. Yeah, sounds like me. She nods, almost to herself. That's why I'm here, she says, because tonight I need the road to be honest. I don't know what to say to that, so I just keep driving. But my eyes keep checking the mirrors now. Once you start looking, you can't stop. A pair of headlights appears far back, steady, not passing, not falling behind. Could be anyone, could be nothing. Still, my neck prickles. Mara sees it too. She doesn't say anything. She just tightens her seatbelt a little, like that would help. And the truck keeps rolling west into the night.
The car that wouldn't pass. The headlights in my mirrors don't do anything dramatic. They don't weave, they don't flash. They just sit there, the same distance back, like they're pinned to us with a string. That's what makes it worse. If somebody's drunk, they drift. If somebody's impatient, they pass. If somebody's lost, they change speed like they're thinking out loud. These lights don't change. They follow like a decision. I keep my voice level. You seeing that? Mara doesn't move her head much, just shifts her eyes to the side mirror. Yeah. How long? Since the last curve, she says. Maybe 10 minutes. 10 minutes doesn't sound like much, but on a quiet highway at night, it's a lifetime. 10 minutes is long enough for your brain to build a whole story. I tap the brake lightly, just enough to flash the trailer lights, not enough to slow hard. A normal driver might back off, thinking I'm warning them. The headlights don't back off. They don't get closer either. They just stay right there. Mara's hands are folded tight in her lap. Don't do anything stupid, she says. I wasn't planning to, I reply. You might, she says. You get stubborn. I glance at her. That's rich, coming from you. She exhales, almost a laugh, then it disappears. Fair. The road is mostly empty, but we're not alone, not really. You're never truly alone on an interstate. There's always somebody out there, another truck, a late-night driver, a cop sitting dark in a median. Tonight, the emptiness feels staged, like someone turned the volume down. I look at the next sign. A rest area in 12 miles. I say, we're stopping. Mara's head snaps toward me. No. We are, I say. Not long, just enough to see if that car commits. If they're following, stopping makes it easier, she argues. Not if we do it smart, I say. If they pull in too, we'll know. If they don't, maybe it's nothing. Mara stares at me for a second, then looks back out at the road like she's swallowing her fear. Fine, she says quietly, but we don't get out. Agreed. I keep driving. The rest area sign comes and goes. The exit appears, a gentle curve off the highway into a pool of sodium light. I downshift and guide the rig off the interstate. The air brakes sigh. The trailer follows steady, heavy, obedient. And the headlights behind us? They take the exit too. Mara doesn't speak. She just watches them in the mirror as they swing off after us. The car stays a respectful distance, like it's trying not to look obvious. But it is obvious. It's the way it moves, controlled, patient. I pull into the far end of the rest area where trucks park. I pick a spot with a clear view of the entry road, not boxed in. Years of driving teaches you little habits like that. I stop. Keep the engine running. Mara leans forward slightly, looking out through the windshield. The car rolls in and keeps rolling. It doesn't park near us. It doesn't park at all. It drives through the lot like it's just browsing, then turns toward the car side of the rest area, away from the trucks. Then it disappears behind the restroom building. Mara whispers, "That's not nothing." "No," I say, "that's not nothing." My mouth is dry again. I take a sip of coffee. It's cold now, bitter. I turn my head just enough to see Mara's face. She looks calm, but it's the kind of calm you get right before your body does something desperate. "What did you do, Mara?" I ask. She doesn't bite back. She answers like she's tired of hiding it. "I copied files I wasn't supposed to copy," she says, "and I called someone I shouldn't have called." "Who?" She hesitates. "An old friend," she says, "a reporter." I blink. "You gave this to the media?" "No," she says quickly. "I tried. He didn't answer. Then he texted me this afternoon and said he'd meet me." "Where?" "In a hotel lobby in Nashville." The words land heavy. I keep my eyes on the rest area entrance. "So, you walked out," I say. "I walked out," she confirms, "and I didn't go home." A car passes the far side of the lot. Not ours, just a normal sedan, couple inside, heading back to the interstate. Then, from behind the restroom building, the same dark car appears again. It rolls slowly, like it's looking. Mara sinks lower in her seat. "Evan?" "I see it," I say. The car stops for a moment near the car parking area. Its headlights stay on. It's hard to see details, but I catch the shape. Low profile, maybe a mid-size SUV or a sedan with a wide stance. Not a junker, not somebody's beat-up commuter. It starts moving again, slow, deliberate, and then it turns, not toward the interstate, toward the truck lot, toward us. I swear under my breath. Mara's voice is tight. "Don't let them block you." "I won't," I say, and I put my hand on the shifter. The car rolls closer, then slows like it's unsure. It stops about 5 truck lengths away, just sits there, idling, lights pointed at us. We stare at each other across the wet pavement. Then something else happens. Another vehicle enters the rest area, this time a white pickup. It drives in fast, too fast for a rest area, and swings around the truck lot. The dark car's brake lights flash once. Mara whispers, "That wasn't here before." The pickup doesn't park. It pulls up behind the dark car and stops, like it's cutting it off. For a second, it looks like a normal argument is about to happen. Then the passenger door of the pickup opens. A man steps out. Even at this distance, I can tell he's not some tired dad taking a bathroom break. He moves like he's working. Straight posture, quick look around, hands visible but ready. He walks up to the dark car's driver's side window. He leans down, says something. The dark car doesn't move. The man stands up, steps back, and lifts his phone like he's taking a photo of the license plate. Then he turns, walks back to the pickup, and gets in. The pickup pulls away, slow now, and heads toward the interstate exit. The dark car sits for another 3 seconds. Then it turns, like it's annoyed, and drives off toward the interstate too. Just like that. The lot goes quiet again. My heartbeat is loud in my ears. Mara's breathing shallow, like she forgot how to do it properly. I watch both vehicles merge back onto the highway. The pickup goes first. The dark car follows, but not close, like it's thinking twice now. Mara finally speaks. "Who was that?" "I don't know," I say. She looks at me. "You sure?" I swallow. Not sure of anything anymore. We sit there, engine humming, rain tapping the windshield. Then my phone buzzes in the cup holder. A text. Unknown number. Just 4 words. "Keep driving. Do not stop." Mara stares at the screen like it's a snake. I feel a cold weight settle in my gut. "Evan," she says softly, "that wasn't for you." I stare at the message again,
And then I noticed something I missed. Under the words, there's a photo attachment, a blurry image taken from behind. It's my truck, on the highway, 10 minutes ago. And in the corner of the frame, clear as day, is the seal number on the trailer door. Someone is close, someone is watching, and someone knows exactly what we're carrying.
Miles of doubt. For a long moment, neither of us speaks. The engine hums steady. The rain taps lightly on the windshield. Somewhere in the distance, a truck downshifts on the ramp back to the interstate. But inside the cab, it feels like the air got thinner. Mara is still staring at my phone. "They want you moving," she says quietly. "Yeah," I reply. "That's the part I don't like. If someone wants you to stop, you can prepare for it. A roadblock, a confrontation, something physical. But if someone wants you to keep driving, that means the destination matters." I put the truck in gear. "We're not staying here," I say. We roll back toward the interstate. My eyes sweep the mirrors, every shadow, every light. The pickup is gone. The dark car is gone. The highway looks normal again. Too normal. As we merge back onto the road, Mara folds her arms across her chest like she's trying to hold herself together. "Maybe the pickup was law enforcement," she says. "Maybe," I say. "But if they were, why text me instead of pulling me over?" She doesn't answer. The road opens up ahead of us, wide and black. The wipers slow to an occasional swipe. The sky is clearing. Stars show faintly through thin cloud. I tap the phone screen and open the photo again. It's sharp enough to be intentional. They wanted me to see the seal number. They wanted me to know they're close. "That picture wasn't random," I say. "No," she replies. "It's leverage." "Leverage for what?" "For control." She turns in her seat and studies me. "You don't scare easily." "Should I?" "Yes," she says, "but not in a panic way, in a focused way." I let out a breath through my nose. "That's helpful." "It is," she says. "Panic makes mistakes. Focus keeps you alive." The words sit between us. Alive. That wasn't a word she used lightly. We drive another 20 minutes before I say what's been building in my head. "Tell me exactly what you think is in that trailer." Mara hesitates. I can see her weighing whether it's better to say it out loud or leave it implied. "I don't know for sure," she says finally, "but the weight discrepancies don't line up with medical supplies." "Meaning?" "Meaning some shipments are heavier than they should be, others lighter, and they're always routed through certain hubs." "And mine?" "Yours is a repeat route. Same origin, same final warehouse in Colorado, same time window." "That doesn't mean illegal." "No," she agrees, "but the broker managing the route is connected to a shell company that's been investigated twice for moving restricted materials." I glance at her. "Restricted like what?" She lowers her voice even though we're alone. "Components," she says. "High-end electronics, defense-grade parts, things that aren't supposed to move without oversight." The steering wheel feels colder under my hands. "And they're using trucks like mine to move them," I say. "They're using clean trucks, reliable drivers, no history, no red flags. So I'm the perfect mule. You're the perfect cover," she says softly. That word hits harder than I expect. Cover. The headlights in my mirrors are gone now, just open highway, a couple of distant rigs ahead. Still, I can't shake the feeling that we're inside something bigger than we can see. "You ever consider you might be wrong?" I ask. "Yes," she says immediately. "Every hour." "Good. But I don't think I am." Silence again. I adjust the cruise control and let the truck settle into a steady speed. If we're being watched, then they're not worried yet. "Why do you think that?" "Because they haven't tried to stop us. If the cargo was that critical, they'd want it controlled." Mara thinks about that. "Unless they need it delivered." There it is again. Destination. Colorado. I say. Yes. Warehouse? She nods. Outside Denver. Industrial district. Low-profile building. Security listed as private. You've been there? No, but I've seen the contracts. I rub my jaw with one hand, then put it back on the wheel. Let's say you're right, I say. Let's say there's something in that trailer that shouldn't be there. She waits. What's the plan? I ask. We document. We verify. We don't confront anyone alone. You make it sound simple. It's not, she says, but it's better than pretending nothing's wrong. I stare at the road. Here's the problem, I say. If I open that trailer, I break the seal. That's my job. That's my license, my livelihood. I know. And if I don't open it, I'm potentially delivering something illegal. I know. And if I call dispatch and tell them I suspect something, they'll replace you by morning, she says. She's right. The truck rolls on. Another mile marker passes, then another. You trust me? She asks quietly. That question hangs heavier than the rest. I don't know, I say honestly. She nods once, accepting it. That's fair. A long stretch of highway opens up, empty from miles. No exits for a while, no overpasses, just blacktop and stars. I check the mirrors again. Nothing. Then, faint, in the distance behind us, a pair of headlights appears. Far back. Too far to read. Mara sees them too. Could be anyone, she says. Yeah, I reply. We both know that's not the point. I shift in my seat. You said you called a reporter. Did you tell him about my truck? No. You sure? I didn't even know which driver would get this load, she says. I found out after I pulled the manifest. So how did they connect you to me? She hesitates again. Because I used your name as a reference when I first got the audit contract, she admits. I look at her sharply. You what? It was informal, she says quickly. They asked if I knew anyone in the distribution chain. I said yes. I said you were reliable, that you'd never cut corners. And now that puts me on their radar. Yes. I shake my head slowly. You should have told me. I'm telling you now. The headlights behind us grow slightly larger. Still distant, still steady. Do you think they hurt you? I ask. She takes a second before answering. I think they'd ruin me, which can be worse. We drive in silence again. The truck feels smaller now. The road feels narrower. Finally, Mara reaches forward and picks up the USB drive from the tray. If something goes wrong, she says, this goes public. How? There's a timed release if it doesn't ping a server every 24 hours. I stare at her. You built that in? Yes. You're serious about this? I don't do half measures. The headlights behind us shift lanes. They're closing the distance now.
Not fast, just steady. I adjust my mirrors carefully. Black SUV. Same profile as the one from the rest area. Mara sees my expression change. It's them, she says. Looks like it. They're still a few hundred yards back. No sudden moves. No flashing lights. Just there, watching. The road ahead remains empty. The road behind is no longer. I keep my voice even. We don't speed, I say. We don't brake. We don't acknowledge. She nods. The SUV stays in the right lane now, directly behind the trailer, like it's reading the seal number again, like it's counting something. My pulse is steady, but my mind is racing. If they wanted the cargo, they'd try to stop us. If they wanted us quiet, they'd do it somewhere less visible. So what do they want? The SUV suddenly moves into the left lane. It starts to pass, slowly. As it comes alongside the trailer, I feel the tension in my shoulders climb. The vehicle glides forward until it's even with my cab. For a second, I can see inside. Driver, male, mid-40s maybe, clean cut, calm. He looks straight ahead, not at us, but in the passenger seat, another man, and he is looking at us, directly. Not aggressive, not angry, just assessing, like we're a delivery he's expecting. The SUV inches ahead, signals, moves back into our lane in front of us, and stays there. Not speeding away, not falling back, just leading. Mara's voice is barely audible. "They're not following," she says. "No," I reply. "They're escorting." The word lands hard. Escort, which means we're not free. The SUV's brake lights flicker lightly, adjusting speed. I match it automatically. The highway curves gently west, stars above, dark fields on both sides. A black SUV ahead of us, steady and patient. And somewhere, far beyond the horizon, Colorado.
Lead car. The SUV in front of us doesn't speed up. It doesn't slow down much either. It just sets a pace, a quiet, deliberate pace. I ease off the cruise control and take manual control again. I don't like letting a machine decide speed when someone else is playing games on the road. Mara hasn't moved. She's watching the SUV like it might speak. "They want us comfortable," she says. "Yeah, that's worse." I nod slightly. If they were threatening us, that's simple. You respond to a threat. But this feels like a guided tour. The SUV maintains about 200 feet ahead of us, not close enough to brake check, not far enough to lose in traffic. There's barely any traffic anyway, just us and them. The highway stretches straight for miles, no exits for a while, no towns, no cameras that I know of. The sky has cleared completely now. The stars are sharp, the moon is thin and pale, like it's watching without getting involved. Mara shifts in her seat. "Do you think they know I'm in here?" she asks. "They know something," I say. "They sent the picture. But that could have been earlier," she says, "before I got in." I don't answer right away. The SUV drifts slightly left in its lane, then corrects. "They know," I say. She swallows. "Then why aren't they doing anything? Maybe this is the something." The SUV signals. My chest tightens for half a second, but it's just changing lanes, moving to the right lane slowly, giving space to a fast-moving sedan coming up behind. The sedan passes both of us quickly and disappears ahead. The SUV moves back into the left lane, still leading. Mara leans her head back against the seat. "This is psychological," she murmurs. "Explain." "They want you aware of them," she says. "If they wanted to follow quietly, they could. If they wanted to stop you, they could try. Instead, they're letting you see them. So I know I'm not alone. So you know you're being watched," she says. That tracks. People who want control don't always use force. Sometimes they use awareness. I adjust my mirrors again. Nothing behind us, just open road, which means the only variable right now is ahead. "Let's test something," I say. "What?" "I'm going to slow down 5 miles an hour." "Okay." I ease off the throttle slightly. The truck loses a bit of speed. The SUV ahead keeps its pace for about 3 seconds. Then its brake lights glow softly. It slows too. Mara exhales slowly. "They're pacing you." "Yeah." I bring the truck back up to speed. The SUV matches. Not aggressive, just consistent, like a metronome. "This isn't random," Mara says quietly. "No." "Do you think they're armed?" I almost smile at that. Almost definitely. She doesn't smile back. The next sign appears in the headlights. Missouri State Line, 12 miles. "State change," I say. "Does that matter?" "Jurisdiction always matters." She studies me. "You thinking of calling someone?" "Thinking about options." She nods. We cross the state line with no fanfare, just a sign, reflective green, flashing by in the dark. The SUV continues steady. I notice something else now. It's not just pacing us, it's guiding lane choices. Up ahead, there's a fork, 2 lanes splitting around a construction zone, one narrow, one wider. The SUV signals early and takes the wider lane. Without thinking, I follow, because that's the safer lane for a truck. And that's when it hits me. "They know trucking," I say. Mara looks at me.
What? They're choosing lanes a truck would prefer, I explain. They're not guessing. Meaning? They know how I'll respond. Her expression tightens. So this isn't improvisation. No. We clear the construction zone. The road opens again. The SUV doesn't accelerate. It just keeps us in its orbit. Mara reaches into her bag again and pulls out a folded map, an actual paper map. I glance at it. You don't trust GPS? Not tonight, she says. Fair. She spreads the map carefully over her knees, keeping it low so it doesn't block her view. Your scheduled rest window is in about 2 hours, she says, officially. Yeah. Do you have to take it? Not yet. Good. She traces a line west with her finger. There's a truck stop about 70 miles ahead, big one, multiple exits, lots of traffic even at night. And if they want to keep escorting you, that's where they'll have to make a decision, which is to follow you in or let you move freely. I consider that. Truck stops are chaotic in a good way. Cameras everywhere, drivers everywhere, harder to isolate someone. If they're trying to keep this quiet, I say, they won't want a scene. Exactly. The SUV ahead drifts slightly toward the right lane again. Up ahead, I see why. A highway patrol car is parked on the shoulder, lights off, just a silhouette. The SUV reduces speed naturally as it passes. So do I. The patrol car doesn't move. The SUV continues. We continue. Once we're well past the patrol car, the SUV resumes its prior speed. They didn't react, Mara says. Nope. Not worried about law enforcement? That's either confidence, I say, or coordination. She doesn't like that answer. Neither do I. The road begins a gentle series of curves through low hills. Trees close in on both sides. The night feels thicker here, less open, more enclosed. I notice the SUV's rear window. It's tinted, but I can see faint shapes moving inside occasionally.
2 people at least, possibly more. Mara shifts closer to the door slightly, like distance might help. Evan, she says quietly, if this turns bad, you need to leave me. No. Yes, she insists, you didn't sign up for this. Didn't sign up to be used either. That's different. No, I say firmly, it's not. She studies my face, maybe looking for hesitation. She won't find it. The SUV signals again. Exit ahead. A small town exit. No major services, just a couple of gas stations and a closed diner at this hour. The SUV takes it. I stay on the interstate. For the first time in an hour, there's open road in front of me. Mara sits up straighter. Are they leaving? I don't relax yet. Maybe. We pass the exit completely. Still no SUV rejoining ahead. No headlights merging behind. Just us. The highway is empty again. The quiet feels different now. Not calm. Vacant. Like something stepped aside on purpose. Mara checks the mirrors repeatedly. Nothing. 5 miles pass. 10. Still nothing. Maybe that was it, she says carefully. Maybe. But I don't believe it. Because escorts don't just quit. Not unless they've handed you off. I scan the horizon ahead. The road dips slightly over a long rise. Beyond that rise, I see something faint. Not headlights, not taillights, just a dark shape spanning part of the roadway far ahead. Too far to identify, but wide and still. My chest tightens. Mara, I say calmly, hold on. The dark shape slowly becomes clearer as we crest the rise. 2 vehicles, parked at an angle, partially blocking the right lane. Hazard lights blinking slow and orange. No other cars around them, no emergency lights. Just enough obstruction to force a lane change. Mara's voice is tight. That's not random. No. I ease off the throttle slightly, not braking hard, just evaluating. There's room in the left lane to pass, but the positioning feels deliberate, like a funnel. The wind brushes against the cab softly. The engine hums steady. I look at the left shoulder. Narrow, but drivable if needed. I look at Mara. She's pale but steady. What are you thinking? she asks. I'm thinking, I say slowly, this is where they decide if we're cargo or passengers. And the blinking hazard lights grow brighter as we close the distance.
The funnel. The hazard lights blink in slow rhythm. Amber, dark, amber, dark. Two vehicles angled across the right lane. One looks like a disabled pickup. The other, a dark sedan, parked slightly ahead of it, hood up. No reflective triangles, no flares, no visible driver waving for help. Just enough obstruction to make me choose. The left lane is technically clear, but it's too clean, too arranged. Mara's voice is low. What are you going to do? I don't answer right away. I watch the mirrors. Nothing behind us, no SUV, but that doesn't mean we're alone. The funnel is obvious now. If I move left to pass, I'll be forced close to the sedan, close enough for someone to step out, close enough for something worse. I ease off the accelerator gently, letting the truck lose a few miles per hour. No hard braking. I don't want to look alarmed. Evan, Mara whispers, if they box us in. They won't, I say. How do you know? Because they still want the cargo intact. That's the key. If what's in my trailer is important, damaging the truck isn't ideal, and forcing a violent stop risks attention, which means subtle control. The sedan's hood is up, but I don't see steam. No one's standing outside. Too staged. The pickup's brake lights flicker briefly. Someone inside, watching. I make a decision. Instead of committing to the left lane early, I keep the truck centered in the right lane as long as possible. I want them unsure. At about 200 yards out, I tap the CB mic. I haven't used it all night. Channel 19 is quiet. I key it once, short burst. Then I say casually, eastbound hazard ahead, mile marker 142. Looks like a breakdown blocking right lane. Nothing fancy. Just enough to let any nearby drivers know I see it, and maybe let whoever set this up know I'm not isolated. The pickup's brake lights glow again. The sedan's driver door shifts slightly, just a crack, then closes. Interesting. Mara catches that too. They're adjusting. Yeah. 100 yards now. I moved my signal lever. Right turn signal. Mara looks at me sharply. Right? Watch. The blinker clicks steady. Instead of going left, I drift slightly right, toward the shoulder. There's a narrow strip of paved shoulder beyond the blocked lane. Not ideal, but wide enough for a truck to edge by if careful. It's a tight squeeze, and risky. The sedan's driver door opens wider now. A man steps out. He doesn't wave. He doesn't look distressed. He stands still, watching me. That's all I need. I don't slow further. I keep a controlled, steady roll and guide the truck even farther right. The shoulder dips slightly. The tires rumble against the edge line. Mara grips the door handle, but says nothing. The pickup inches forward a foot like it's considering blocking that space too. But it's too late. I'm committed. The right side tires hit the shoulder fully now. The truck leans slightly. I keep the wheel steady. The gap between the pickup's rear bumper and the guardrail is tight. Real tight. The sedan driver takes 2 steps forward into the lane, like he's expecting me to stop. I don't. I hold speed. Not fast, but decisive. The truck roars slightly as I add just a touch of throttle to prevent losing momentum on the uneven surface. The pickup driver must realize what I'm doing. Its brake lights flash hard. The sedan driver jumps back as the cab clears him by less than a yard. The trailer swings through the narrow space. For a split second, I think the rear wheels might clip the guardrail. They don't. The truck clears the blockade. We're past him. Back on clean asphalt. Mara exhales sharply. Oh my God! I don't look back immediately. I give it 5 seconds. Then I check the mirror. Both vehicles are moving now. The sedan drops its hood and swings into the left lane. The pickup reverses slightly, then jerks forward and joins behind it. They're coming, Mara says. Yeah. They accelerate fast. Faster than a normal merge. This isn't escort anymore. This is pursuit. The sedan pulls up first. It moves into the left lane, trying to get alongside again. The pickup stays behind us tight now, close enough that I can't see its headlights fully in the mirror. They're trying to box us, Mara says. I nod. Classic maneuver. One ahead, one behind, control speed. But they made one mistake. They let me through clean, and now we're moving at highway speed. I push the throttle gently, not flooring it, just building momentum. A loaded truck doesn't accelerate fast, but it builds power steady. The sedan pulls alongside my cab again. The passenger window lowers halfway. I see a man inside, calm face, no panic. He raises a hand, not waving, pointing forward. Then he taps his wrist like he's checking a watch. Time. That's what he's signaling. Time's up. I look ahead. Far down the road, I see something else now. Faint red and blue lights. Flashing. Stationary. Mara sees it too. Police? She says. Maybe. The sedan drops back slightly. The pickup closes in behind us. If that's law enforcement ahead, this could go one of two ways. Either they're about to stop us officially, or this is part of the show. The sedan suddenly accelerates and pulls ahead of me, cutting into my lane sharply. Too sharply. I tap the brakes hard enough to create distance, but not lose control. The pickup inches closer behind, like it's trying to reduce my maneuvering room. The sedan's brake lights flash once. A warning. I look at the flashing red and blue ahead. They're parked on the shoulder, not blocking lanes, just sitting there, waiting. Mara's voice is tight. If you stop and they're real police, then we talk. And if they're not, I don't answer. The sedan begins slowing gradually, forcing my speed down. The pickup closes further. I'm being compressed between them. I make another decision. Instead of continuing to slow, I flick on my hazard lights, let everyone know something abnormal is happening. Then I reach for the CB again. Anyone near 145 eastbound? I say, voice steady. Got vehicles trying to force a slowdown. Possible unsafe situation. Silence for half a second. Then a crackle. A voice. Deep, southern accent. Copy that, eastbound. You ain't alone. 2 rigs about a mile back. Relief hits like oxygen. I keep my hazards on. The sedan ahead hesitates. They didn't expect other trucks. The flashing red and blue lights ahead suddenly change. They switch on fully now. Bright. Official. A marked highway patrol cruiser pulls slightly into the lane. Not blocking, just visible. The sedan veers right abruptly and takes the next exit ramp without signaling. The pickup drops back instantly, falls behind. Then it too veers off the same exit. Gone. Just like that. The pressure vanishes. It's almost disorienting. The patrol car remains parked on the shoulder, lights flashing steady. I reduce speed carefully and pull into the left lane to pass at a safe distance. The officer inside doesn't move, doesn't pull out, just watches us go by. Mara looks at me. You think that was coincidence? I shake my head slowly. No. We pass the patrol car. No pursuit, no siren, just flashing lights fading behind us. I turn off my hazards. The highway opens again. Empty. Calm. But my pulse is still high. They tested you, Mara says quietly. Yeah. They wanted to see if you'd comply. I nod. And now they know you won't. The weight of that settles in. Non-compliance changes the game. The night stretches ahead, Missouri rolling under the tires. Somewhere behind us, 2 vehicles are recalculating. Somewhere ahead, Colorado waits. And this is no longer about quiet observation. It's about escalation.
Quiet after the surge. For a few miles, neither of us says anything. The road feels too open now, too normal, like nothing just happened. My hands are steady on the wheel, but I can feel the leftover adrenaline in my arms. Not shaking, just alert, like my body hasn't decided it's safe yet. Mara finally breaks the silence. You didn't hesitate, she says. I did, just fast. She studies me for a moment. That wasn't panic driving. No, that was deliberate. I shrug slightly. If they wanted to hurt us, they'd have tried harder. That was pressure, a test. To see if you'd stop, or to see if I scare easy. The highway patrol cruiser is gone in the mirrors now.
Either it never intended to move, or it did exactly what it was supposed to, exist. "Do you think the officer was real?" Mara asks. "Yes. And that doesn't mean he wasn't placed there." She leans back slowly. "So this is layered," she says. "They pressure you. Then they show you they can back off whenever they want." Exactly. The truck settles back into rhythm. Engine steady. Tires humming. We're past the immediate danger, but something shifted. The escort was subtle. The funnel was aggressive. The box maneuver was controlled. And when I refused to comply, they stepped away. That means they're confident. Or patient. Neither is comforting. Mara reaches for the USB drive again and turns it over in her fingers. You realize that if they were willing to block an interstate lane, they're not playing small. They also didn't escalate once they were witnesses, I say, because it's cleaner that way. I nod. The mile markers tick by slowly. You said the warehouse outside Denver is private security? Yes. And how secure? Controlled gate, cameras, no random deliveries accepted. And my manifest? Scheduled drop at 6:30 a.m., 2 days from now. I glance at the clock on the dash. It's just after 1 a.m., plenty of miles between here and there. That means they don't need to rush, I say. Exactly. The air inside the cab feels heavier than before. Not panicked, just aware. After something like that, the quiet feels intentional. I check the mirrors again. Still empty. Do you think they'll try again tonight? Mara asks. No. Why not? Because we reacted publicly. CB call, highway patrol visible. They won't repeat that mistake right away. She considers it. So what happens now? Now they watch. And wait? Yeah. The road begins a long stretch of rural darkness. No overpasses, no lights for miles. Just stars and asphalt. Mara lowers her voice slightly. If they wanted you scared enough to quit the route, they'd push harder. Right. But they didn't. No. Which means they need you to finish it. I nod once. And they're making sure you understand that.
I think about the man in the SUV tapping his wrist. Time. Delivery window. Everything is on schedule. Maybe they were checking whether I'd break the seal, I say. Mara looks at me sharply. You mean provoke you into inspecting it? Yeah. If you had stopped and opened it out of fear, they'd know I was aware, and they could void your contract, replace you. Exactly. Instead, she says slowly, you forced them to react. And now they know I'm not blind. The truck rolls through a shallow valley, trees on both sides, no exit for 20 miles. The kind of stretch where people disappear in movies. I adjust my seat slightly. We need a new rule, I say. What? No more reacting emotionally. She gives me a small look. I wasn't emotional. You wanted me to stop at the rest area. That was cautious. And I wanted to push through the funnel. That was stubborn. We both almost smile. The tension cracks just slightly. Okay, she says, what's the rule? We only move when we understand why we're moving. She nods. Agreed. Silence again. Then her phone vibrates softly in her pocket. She freezes. I glance at her. Unknown number? I ask. She nods slowly. She doesn't answer it. The phone stops buzzing. Then buzzes again. And again. 3 times. She pulls it out. The screen shows a blocked caller ID. A voicemail notification appears immediately. She doesn't open it. Instead, she powers the phone off. Good, I say. They're escalating contact, she murmurs. Yeah. A sign appears ahead. Major Truck Plaza, 48 miles. I glance at Mara. Is that the one you mentioned? Yes. We'll stop there. Even if they're watching? Especially if they're watching. She nods. We drive another 10 miles in steady quiet. The night feels calmer now, but that's deceptive. Calm after conflict isn't safety, it's recalibration. "Evan," she says quietly, "if this is bigger than smuggling parts?" "What do you mean?" "If this ties into defense contracts, international shipments, you think federal?" "You think money," she says, "and when money's that big, the layers get deep." The thought settles uncomfortably. "Do you regret calling me?" I ask. She takes a second. "No," she says, "but I regret dragging you." "I didn't drag you. You put my name in their system." "That's on them," I say. She looks at me like she wants to argue. Then she doesn't. The road begins to rise gently. At the crest, I see faint headlights behind us again.
Far back. Too far to identify, but steady. Mara sees them too. "They're back," she whispers. "Or someone else." The lights maintain distance, no aggressive acceleration, just present, watching. "They're smarter now," she says. "Yeah. We don't change speed, we don't acknowledge, just steady westbound motion." The truck plaza sign grows closer mile by mile. The headlights behind remain far enough not to spook, patient, calculated. "That's the difference now," Mara says softly. "They're not trying to control you. They're studying me." She nods. "And if they're studying," she says, "it means they're planning the next move." I exhale slowly. The horizon ahead glows faintly from the truck plaza lights in the distance. A wide pool of brightness in the dark. A place with cameras, with witnesses, with noise, and maybe answers. The headlights behind us shift lanes briefly, then settle again. Not overtaking, just present. The engine hum remains constant. The road unrolls ahead like it always has. But tonight, every mile feels like it's being measured, not by distance, by decisions. Truck plaza lights. The glow from the truck plaza grows slowly on the horizon, like a small city rising out of the dark. Even from miles away, you can tell it's big. Rows of lights, fuel canopies, parking stretching wide behind the main building, the kind of place that never fully sleeps. I ease off the throttle slightly, letting our speed drop gradually. The headlights behind us don't rush. They don't disappear either, just steady. "Same distance?" Mara asks. "Yeah. Not trying to spook you. No. Just reminding you." "Exactly." The exit sign flashes by. I signal early. Slow, steady, no sudden moves. The rig drifts onto the off-ramp smoothly. The headlights behind follow. Of course they do. The ramp curves wide and feeds into a long service road lit with tall white lamps. The plaza ahead is busy even at this hour. Other rigs idling, a few cars at the pumps, people moving in and out of the convenience store. Good. Witnesses matter. I pull into the truck entrance and swing toward the diesel lanes first. Keep it normal, routine. The headlights behind us turn in as well. They don't fuel. They don't park immediately. They circle once through the lot. Mara tracks them carefully. "Black SUV again," she says. "Same one." "Yeah." The SUV rolls past us slowly as I position at a pump. The driver doesn't look at me this time, but the passenger does. Same calm stare. Not angry, not hurried, just taking inventory. Then the SUV continues past the fuel lanes and disappears toward the back parking rows. "Do we stay?" Mara asks. We stay. I set the brake and kill the engine. The sudden quiet inside the cab feels strange after hours of motion. "Do not get out alone," she says. I won't. I grab my phone and slip it into my jacket pocket. Then I open the door and climb down to the pavement. Cold air hits my face. The diesel smell is strong here, mixed with hot metal and coffee drifting from inside the store. Other drivers are out too. A man in a red hoodie cleaning his windshield, another checking straps on a flatbed. Normal. I walk around to the back of the trailer casually. The seal is still intact. Same number. No tampering.
I check the tires slowly, methodical, like I always do. Not rushed, not paranoid. But I scan the lot while I do it. Rows of parked trucks stretch deep into the back, some engines idling, some dark and silent. Then I see it, the SUV, parked 3 rows back, engine off, lights off, just sitting there. Mara is still in the cab, watching from above. I finish my inspection and climb back inside. They're parked, I say. I saw. They're not hiding. No. I restart the engine and pull forward to park in a back row spot, away from the store entrance, but not isolated. I want neighbors. I set the brake again. This time, we both sit for a moment without speaking.
Okay, Mara says softly. What's the move? We eat, I reply. She looks at me like I've lost my mind. Eat? Yes. Evan, if we act like prey, they win, I say calmly. We keep routine. She studies me, then nods once. We climb down together this time. The pavement crunches lightly under our boots. The night air is cold, but still. I feel eyes on us. Not dramatic, just aware. We walk toward the main building side by side, but not touching. Inside, the plaza is bright and loud compared to the highway. Coffee machines hissing, TV mounted in the corner playing muted news, a couple of drivers laughing near the counter. Normal. Too normal. We grab coffee, sit at a small booth near the window that faces the lot. From here, we can see the SUV's position. Still parked, no movement. Mara wraps her hands around the cup like she's grounding herself. Maybe they're waiting for us to leave, she says. Or waiting for someone else. She doesn't like that. I take a sip of coffee. It's strong and fresh. Let's think, I say. If they needed the cargo badly, they would have stopped us. Yes, they didn't. Because we created witnesses. Exactly. So they'll wait for isolation, which means not here. Mara looks at the rows of trucks. There's cameras everywhere. Yeah. She glances at the entrance. 2 men walk in, one in a baseball cap, one clean cut. Not the SUV guys. Different build, different posture, but something about the way they scan the room makes me alert. Not customers, observers. They don't buy anything. They don't approach anyone. They stand near the soda machines and look around like they're checking positions. Mara sees them too. They're with them, she whispers. Probably. The men don't look at us directly, but one of them lifts his phone briefly, points it toward the window, toward our truck, takes a picture. No attempts to hide it. Message received. They leave without buying anything. Mara exhales slowly. This isn't random intimidation. No. This is coordinated. Yes. The SUV in the lot remains still. Why not confront us directly, she asks. Because they don't need to, I say. They're building pressure. Toward what? Compliance. Her jaw tightens. You think they'll try to make a deal? Maybe.
Right on cue, my phone vibrates in my pocket again. Unknown number. Text. I open it under the table. 3 words this time. Stay on schedule. Mara watches my face. What? She asks. I show her the screen. Her expression hardens. That's instruction. Yeah. Not threat. No. I type a reply before I overthink it. Who is this? We wait. 30 seconds. Nothing. Then another message appears. Deliver as contracted. No deviations. Mara shakes her head slowly. They're not hiding anymore. Now. They assume you'll comply. I lock the phone screen. I haven't agreed to anything. But you're still driving west, she says. I don't respond, because she's right. The question is no longer whether something illegal is happening. The question is what happens if I break pattern. We finish the coffee in silence. Outside, the SUV remains parked, engine still off. Patience. When we stand to leave, Mara's voice is steady. They want you predictable. Yeah, so don't be. I look at her. That's dangerous. So is obedience. We step back out into the cold air. The lot feels quieter now. Fewer drivers moving around. Engines idling low. I climb into the cab. Mara follows. The SUV's engine turns on, headlights flare to life, right on cue. I don't start my engine immediately. Instead, I sit, hands resting on the wheel, letting them wait. 10 seconds. 20. 30. The SUV doesn't move. They're disciplined. Finally, I start the truck. The engine roars awake. I pull out of the parking row slowly. The SUV pulls out too, keeping distance, matching. We roll toward the exit, but at the last second, I signal left, not toward the interstate ramp, toward the side service road that loops behind the plaza. Mara's eyes widen slightly. The SUV hesitates for half a second, then follows. Good. That's what I wanted. We're no longer just cargo on schedule. We're variables, and someone out there doesn't like unpredictability.
Breaking pattern. The service road behind the truck plaza is darker. No big canopy lights, no constant movement. Just a strip of pavement that loops around storage buildings and dumpsters before reconnecting with the interstate entrance farther down. I keep the truck slow, deliberate. The SUV follows at a cautious distance. They didn't hesitate long, Morris says quietly. No. That means they were told not to lose you. Yeah. We pass a row of parked trailers, unhitched, silent. Their white sides glow faintly under scattered security lights. The road bends left. Instead of taking the curve back toward the interstate, I spot something else. An unmarked gravel lot used for overflow parking. No lighting except a weak pole lamp at the far end. I flick my signal and turn into it. The gravel crunches under the tires. The truck sways slightly as we enter the uneven surface. Evan, Morris says carefully, this isn't exactly public. I know. The SUV slows at the entrance. It doesn't turn in immediately. It pauses on the paved road, watching, waiting to see what I'll do. I drive deeper into the lot and angle the truck so the cab faces the entrance. Clear view, clear exit. I leave plenty of space behind me. Then I stop. Engine running. Headlights on. The SUV finally turns into the gravel lot. It rolls in slowly. Stops about 50 yards away. Engine idling. Lights still on. No one gets out. No one honks. Just a quiet standoff under a weak pole lamp and a half-moon sky. Mara's breathing is steady now. This is deliberate, she says. Yes. You're calling their bluff. Maybe. The SUV's driver door opens. A man steps out. Same clean-cut driver from earlier. Dark jacket. No visible weapon. Calm posture. He doesn't rush. He walks halfway towards us and stops. Hands visible at his sides. He's keeping distance. Smart. I crack my window halfway, but don't get out. The engine fills the space between us. He calls out, voice controlled. You're off route. I don't answer immediately. Then I reply, voice calm. Needed a minute. You're on contract, he says. Stick to it. Mara stays silent beside me. I study the man. Mid-40s. Professional. Not a thug. You escort all your deliveries? I ask. He doesn't smile. We ensure compliance. Is there a problem with my compliance? You deviated. I fueled. You diverted. Gravel lot's not illegal. His gaze flicks briefly toward the trailer. Then back to me. Deliver the freight, he says, on time. And if I don't? There's a slight pause. Then he answers evenly. You don't want that scenario. Not loud, not threatening, just factual. I lean back slightly in my seat. Open it, I say suddenly. He blinks once. Excuse me? Open the trailer, I repeat. If everything's clean, we're done here. His jaw tightens just a fraction. That's not your responsibility. It is if someone's trying to steer me. The cargo is sealed. Then why babysit it? Silence. The wind brushes across the gravel lightly. He takes a small step back. You're being compensated, he says. Stick to the contract. And if the contract's dirty, it's not. Prove it. Mara shifts slightly beside me but doesn't speak. The man's eyes narrow just slightly. You don't want to make this adversarial. Feels adversarial already. Another pause. Then he changes tone slightly. Less direct. You're overthinking, he says. This is standard risk management. Risk of what? Interference. From who? He doesn't answer that. Instead, he gestures subtly toward the interstate beyond the lot. Time matters, he says again. You're losing it. I glance at the dashboard clock. He's right. We've been sitting here several minutes. That's the pressure point. Schedule. Deadlines. Mara finally speaks, voice calm. If the shipment's clean, there's no reason to intimidate the driver. The man looks at her for the first time directly. Recognition flashes in his eyes. You shouldn't be here, he says. She meets his gaze evenly. Neither should you. For the first time, a crack appears in his composure. Not anger, calculation. He looks back at me. Deliver the load, he repeats. No deviations. Then he turns without another word and walks back to the SUV. He gets in. The engine revs slightly. The SUV backs out of the gravel lot slowly and returns to the service road. They don't wait. They don't linger. They leave. Mara watches them disappear toward the interstate. Her voice is quiet. They know I'm involved. Yeah. They didn't expect that. No. I keep the engine running for a few seconds longer. Then I shift into gear and pull back onto the paved road. We rejoin the interstate behind them. The SUV merges ahead again, back to leading. But something has changed. They're rattled, Mara says. Maybe. You pushed. Yeah. And they didn't escalate. Not yet. The truck settles back into highway speed. The SUV maintains its distance again, same pattern, but now it feels thinner, more fragile. They don't want confrontation, Mara says thoughtfully. No. They want delivery. Yes. Which means whatever's in that trailer isn't disposable. I nod slowly. That's the first solid conclusion we've had all night. The highway stretches long and dark ahead. The SUV's taillights glow red in the distance. They'll try a different angle next, Mara says. Probably. Not force. No. Influence. I glance at her. You mean offer something? Or threaten something specific? The words hang in the cab. Threaten something specific. Not vague intimidation, targeted leverage. I check my phone screen. No new messages. Yet. The miles roll under us quietly. The engine hum returns to its steady rhythm, but the night no longer feels like empty space. It feels like a chessboard, and we just made our first visible move.